So it's been a minute since I last talked about Supercell and any of their games that were really holding people's attention. I'm going to be honest, I haven't been paying too much attention to Supercell as of recently because I just had some other things going on that I wanted to cover and talk about. I mean, I wanted to talk about Microsoft and how they're falling apart, and I wanted to talk about how Activision was getting desperate and jealous over Battlefield's success. And then we had Nintendo and their lawsuits backfiring against them and their ongoing war against PAL Worlds. So there's been a lot of other gaming news topics I wanted to talk about. But however, this one in particular almost slipped under my radar. As a matter of fact, I just saw this news feed a couple of days ago about SquadBusters and how apparently it's going to be shutting down. So there's no way I'm going to miss this opportunity and talk about this game as well. So apparently Supercell had a new game called SquadBusters, and it just really didn't live up to people's expectations, and people were just not really happy with the way the game has been handled. So, for those of you who do not know, let me catch you up to speed real quick. SquadBusters is supposed to be one of Supercell's newest games out on their market, and it was supposed to be a mix of all the other Supercell games into one. I mean, you had a mix of other characters from people like Heyday, and you had people from like Clash of Clans and Boom Beach and Clash Royale and Brawl Stars, which on paper, it sounded pretty cool. You know, you're combining all of your characters and popular icons from previous games that you made, and you're going to put them all into one. It sounded really cool, but in terms of execution and just developing the game and like presenting it to people, at first it seemed kind of promising, but at second, it just really didn't live up to the people's expectations. It just kind of fell apart quick. Usually when a new game comes out, it usually does pretty well at first. I mean, you have like thousands of people playing the game for weeks on end, maybe months on end. But however, for SquadBusters' case, it just didn't really do its job. I mean, people quickly realized that this game was not really doing that well. Now, me personally, I barely knew this game even existed at all until one of my friends that I play games with told me about this, and he's like, hey, there's a new game released by Supercell. I think you should check it out. It's kind of cool. You might be interested in it. And I did play SquadBusters, I think at least one time on the channel before to make content for the laughs. But other than that, I mean, the game just really wasn't for me. I mean, I tried it out a couple times and I just quickly realized, all right, well, this is pretty boring. Why would I want to play this? I mean, it's essentially the same game mode over and over. And the game itself just didn't really settle in with people because, number one, it was basically the exact same game over and over. You were basically doing this massive farming simulator, gathering your squad and then gathering gems, and you just repeat the cycle, and it got repetitive and boring. And number two, there was a lack of quality of life features in the game. Like, you literally couldn't really communicate with your friends in this game at all. There was no in-game chat dialogue, and there was no in-game clan feature so you can get together with your buddies and play the game that way. The game just was not that well developed, and unfortunately, it looks like Supercell is going to be shutting the game down. And there's an article on their website that even talks about this. Now, if you want to read the article for yourself, I will leave a link in the description down below so you folks can go check it out for yourselves. So I'm going to read you the article and then we will discuss. After months of reflection, we have made the extremely difficult decision to end active development of SquadBusters. There will be one final update in December 2025, which will include part of the content we shared in our recent roadmap. After that, the game will remain available to download and play for a while longer. We do expect to close it at some point in 2026, but not before the middle of the year. While this is not the outcome we hope for, we believe it is the right decision to stay true to Supercell's goal of creating games that players can love for years. SquadBusters brought joy to many of us, but it did not reach the long-term quality bar we hold ourselves to, making games that millions play and remember forever. So this game didn't really last that long, it sounds like. I mean, what? It came out last year in May, I think, just before the start of the summer season, and the game has only been out for one whole year, and now Supercell is considering shutting down the game forever. This game lasted slightly longer than X-Defiant. That's not a good sign. Now, of course, at least by the time of the recording of this video, SquadBusters is still available to play. So if you wanted to get those last-minute games in for SquadBusters, now is the time to do it. But honestly, I don't think people would really give a damn if this game were to just go away. I mean, the game didn't really market that well. I mean, if you think about it, sure, they have like a news feed for all of their upcoming events and whatnot, and if you load up games like Brawl Stars or Clash Royale, there's like a news tab where you click on that and you get all like the latest news updates for their games and what's coming for their updates and whatnot. I mean, maybe at some point there was like a news feed at some point letting people know, hey, there's a new game in development called SquadBusters, but the game just wasn't really that well advertised, in my opinion. I mean, like I've said earlier in the video, I barely even knew the game even existed until one of my friends brought it up to me and told me about it. But I didn't hear any word about this game at all. Not on YouTube, not on Twitter, nowhere. I barely even heard any kind of advertising for the game. Like, they didn't even go down the route of like, oh, hey, the game's doing pretty bad. Screw it. Let's give people a free skin voucher or a free character voucher, and they can use it for any character or skin they want, and we'll throw it alongside this trailer and use it for marketing so we can get some players into our game. They didn't even do that. They didn't even try to get this game into the hands of people. Like, they didn't even really advertise the game that well. And what hurts even more is that this is the first global game that they released that is going to be shutting down. And Supercell, they have killed off other games before that were in like betas, like the testing phase. And usually you get like an early code for betas, or there's like a small soft launch, so a smaller group of people that can get access to the game, try it out before fully releasing it global. Usually Supercell, that's like their deciding phase. Like, oh, well, these people enjoy the game, and if they like it, that's good. We'll think about going global. But if it doesn't reach our expectations, then we'll just kill it off. I mean, Supercell has killed off games that were in beta before. I mean, they done it with Heyday Pop, and they done it with Clash Mini. I mean, those games, Supercell just killed off while it was still in the beta phase. But however, for SquadBusters instance, I think it's much worse than that, considering technically, in a way, this is a fully released game from Supercell. Like, it's fully global, and I think it's much worse because it's global, so more people saw it like, oh, this game is just not doing too well. It doesn't have the content I want. It just looks boring or repetitive. Why would I want to play this? Now, me personally, like I've said earlier, I tried this game out before. I mean, didn't really catch my interest that long because, I mean, why would I want to play essentially one game mode over and over when I can just go to other games that have a variety of game modes, you know? I mean, I got other things to do in the gaming industry. I have other games that I want to play. There are reviews for video games I want to work on. I've been working on a review for Baldur's Gate 3 for a while, and I've been working on a review for Kazan the First Berserker, which I plan to try to release both of them at some point before the end of this year, but that's a topic for another day. I got better things to do than just to play a mediocre video game that I know it's not going to really keep my interest that long. I mean, I would rather play games like Brawl Stars or play games like Helldivers 2, or I would rather play games like Minecraft even, because at least they actually have stuff that I want. But anyway, let's get back to the article. At Supercell, we celebrate what we learned from our failures, and SquadBusters was an opportunity to apply some of those lessons, especially from previous games with long beta periods. We wanted to move faster, take bold risks, and learn directly from a global audience instead of waiting years in a limited release. So this next part just doesn't make sense to me. If you want to celebrate and learn from your mistakes and take the opportunity to better yourselves as developers going forward with your other games, then why did you not delay SquadBusters in the first place? Because the game literally launched with bare minimum content. It makes no sense to me. If the game didn't go that well and perform up to your standards, why did you not delay the game in the first place before releasing it last year? If you gave the game more time to develop, you could have probably extended the life period of this game's life cycle, so that way you could have had more time to work on the game and give it the necessary treatment it deserves. But no, instead, you literally rushed this game out there and released an unfinished product, and people gave out their thoughts and opinions, and the reaction was pretty well deserved, I would say. Like, if people are going to see this as an unfinished product, why would they bother sticking around with this when there are other games out there that are much better? Now, I will feel bad for the people that were making content on SquadBusters, because there are some Supercell content creators that like to make content on all the Supercell games, and I will feel bad for those people because they won't be able to enjoy this game anymore, so they're going to be stuck with some of the other previous Supercell games. But however, I will say this, I think the failure of SquadBusters, this should be a cautionary tale for Supercell going forward, and I think this should also be a cautionary tale for all game developers going forward, so that way they can be extra cautious and take more time into developing their games. I know I've been talking a lot of crap about Clash Royale every time I talk about Supercell and how they've been taking constant L's with Clash Royale, but I honestly think this is even worse than Clash Royale. I would argue to say that SquadBusters being shut down is much worse in this scenario. So I figured this was an interesting news topic to cover and talk about. It is some pretty unfortunate news from Supercell. I mean, they are one of the top mobile game developers out there in the mobile gaming market, but seeing them just take this fat L with SquadBusters, it's definitely not a good look for the company. So with this being said, thank you everyone for watching and for listening. And until next time, I'm talking about Supercell and their latest failures with SquadBusters. And I will see you all later.